Hey guys, how's it going? So I'm recording this video on Saturday, November 23rd, 2019, on my stream, my weekly stream, which is every Friday night at 9:30 Eastern. Encourage you guys to stop by and hang out, by the way. I showed a new rifle that I purchased, and this is the JRA Gallant, the Galil build, Galil variant if you will, right? And I was so excited to get this gun, guys. Was really looking forward to it, like more than anything. With the correct receiver markings, it looked like it was a really good build. When I watched the initial video that Classic put out, it looked impeccable. The machining, everything looked great. They put out a torture test video. It worked perfectly. And as you guys know, when I put out my review videos, I'm just giving you my raw first impressions. Now, I did this on my stream last night, and it's a 3-hour stream. And look, streams, I tend to repeat myself because as I'm interacting with the audience, because that's why I do it, to hang out with you all, I see new people coming in and saying, what's going on with this gun? What are we talking about? I purchased one too, fill me in. So I repeat myself a little bit. So I'm not going, ad nauseum necessarily on my streams on purpose. It's because it's a live event. So I'm going to put a more condensed, short review of this Galil Gallant rifle right now for those of you that don't want to watch the 3-hour stream, because it's different to watch it later than when it's live. And like I said before, I've had a lot of good gun reviews lately, and that's not because anyone paid me to do good reviews. I don't get any free guns from anybody whatsoever. My Patreon supporters help me a little bit with gun purchases, and I thank them for that. And if any of you want to help out the channel, my Patreon link is down below. And if you just like the video, give it a like and tell your friends about the channel. That helps me too. But I've had a lot of good guns lately, and they've been budget guns, that I've had no problems with. And it's really fun to do a review like on this 1911, where it was a great gun so far, for the money especially. And I really so bad wanted this Galil to be good. I'll cut to the chase. It's not. It arrived to me broke. It's a complete disaster, and I spent a lot of my hard-earned money on this gun, guys. But I'm going to give you a quick review on it. I'm just going to tell you exactly how it happened. Now, if you guys have one of these on the way, or you bought one, I really hope that yours is like 10 times better than mine. I would love nothing more than for all of yours to be perfect and mine to be the only bad one. So I'm not trying to discourage anyone from buying the gun, but here's the deal. When I do gun reviews and unboxings, I'm going to show you exactly the way it came out of the box. Man, if I'm excited about it, you're going to get my enthusiasm. If there's something wrong, I'm going to show you, because again, nobody sends me these guns. I can portray the reviews however I want, and the way I choose my reviews is just to be honest and just to show you guys what's actually inside the box per se. Alright, so let's take a look at this Gallant rifle. When I took it out of the box at the FFL, I usually do an unboxing in front of the camera, and I had planned to do it, but you have to open the box, the gun dealer does, right? The FFL, to make sure the serial number matches for their books and for the Form 4473. So he took it out of the box. And usually what I'll do is something like this. When I buy a new rifle, I'm going to do the real unboxing in front of you all and for you all, right? So we can hang out and get to know the gun together. But I always just pick up the rifle and I charge the handle, check, make sure there's no ammo in there. Usually not, but it's still possible to have a live round in a gun that left the factory. I've never had it happen, but I just check it real quick because it's just a good habit to be in. I'll rack the slide back and forth if it's a pistol. In this case, the charging handle of the bolt carrier, right? Rack it back and forth. Just make sure it, literally, basic function test. Pull the trigger, check the safety, pull it again, pull the trigger, put it back in the box. You guys get to see it for the first time with me. Well, this was no different. I went to my local gun shop, picked up the gun, was like, oh, okay, didn't really look at it that good. Let's safety check it. So I went to pull back on the charging handle. It came all the way to the rear. I let go. No magazine in the gun. Galil mags don't have bolt hole open feature, but there was no mag in it, and it just locked to the rear. And I said, oh, geez. This is going to have the thing where the carrier hangs up on the trigger a little bit, so I gave it the little nudge forward like you do on some AKs. The Tapco G2 trigger in the past has been known to do that, like on some of the older Wassers. Love Wassers, by the way, guys. No knock on those. But you guys know what I'm saying, that's ever had an AK before. So I went to give it a little nudge, and it was like I was hitting a brick wall. I said, this isn't right. Tried to jiggle it to the rear a little bit more. It would not move at all. Wouldn't move forward, wouldn't move backwards. Now, this is the first time I charged the weapon right out of the box. And then I said, well, what the heck's going on with this thing? This is an AK, you know, really. It's an advanced AK, but it's still just an AK. I own many AKs, been into them forever. I'm like, this is an AK. What could go wrong? Well, everything that could go wrong all landed in my lap with this. So basically, charging handle, if you will, is to the rear. 3/4 laid back, can't do anything. I go to start shaking the gun a little bit. Just kind of like, what's going on here? You know, just like this. Ping, look down on the floor. One of my trigger pins falls immediately to the floor. Right around this time, the trigger itself comes up, and it's about halfway up inside the gun. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I pick the trigger pin up, put it on the counter. There's still some rattling. I give it a little bit of a shake. Now, with the Galil, keep in mind, there's a slot here for the what used to be the full auto selector. This being a semi-auto, it only works in 2 positions. But there's a slot right up against where the grip is and the receiver that goes all the way through. Keep this in mind. So I'm shake. Sounds like a baby rattle, you know. My daughter's 7 now, but I remember the baby rattles. You guys probably do too. I'm like, oh my gosh, this gun's a baby rattle with the trigger falling out. All of a sudden, tink, right on the floor comes this. Now this is a partial shepherd's hook. People call it the paper clip. This is the retainer that keeps the pins from walking out. Well, it's part of it. This is the part of it that came out. Now, there should be quite a bit more to the retainer than this, but this is all that fell out of the gun. And after finally getting the gun apart, this is all I ever found. I don't know where the rest of it is. I searched the foam case, because they did package these. You can kind of see it right behind me here. In a foam case, I bought the shooter's package. I bought the top of the line one they had that came with all the bells and whistles, right? And it wasn't in the foam case. So it apparently left JRA. Or possibly if someone was handling it classic. I don't know if they take them out of the box or not. If they do, they're not actually testing them at all or charging them. I can tell you that. At least I hope not. I hope someone at Classic didn't do that and send it to me. I don't think they did. So I'm assuming at JRA, half of this had already fallen out of the gun before it came to me. Okay, we're good now. Nope, rattle. So I shake it a little bit more, and guess what else comes out? Tink, right down to the floor. This is just a regular cheap hardware store washer that's been clipped or cut on one edge. So this modified hardware store washer. Now, I bought dozens of AKs over the years, guys. I've been at it a long time. Never had a washer in my AK. I've built AKs. I've never needed to use a washer. But this came out of the gun. I'm not going to lie, guys. Why would I have this here? I wish I was lying. I wish this nightmare would go away. But it's just the truth. So that fell out of the gun. Alright. Now I'm still in this debacle where I can't do anything with the handle. Now I know the only way to get to this is to push the, you know, the button, if you will, which is really just the recoil spring guide rod. Well, it's racked back 3/4, so there's a tremendous amount of pressure on this. So as to make sure I'm not going to abuse the gun, I grabbed a hammer that the local gun shop had that's very similar to this, with a real soft, non-marring. So I started to do a little tap. I'm not hurting the gun at all, you know, tap. So after I was able to get the trigger to move a little bit, I knew there was a chance, right? So I started to grab the trigger and just kind of pull it down. I got it halfway down. It still wouldn't come in the correct position, but I was able then to just slightly nudge. Again, I'm not trying to break anything further than it already is at this point. I'm just trying to get the gun apart and see what's going on. So I barely tapped it, got it to move another 1.5 inches or so forward, then it still was caught up because the trigger still wasn't in there right, obviously. Well, I was able to barely push on the back of this, you know, the button as I call it. I know it's part of the, you know, guide rod assembly, but I'm pushing on it and I was able to get it to, it was a little easier, still extremely difficult. So to help me, I took a nylon punch and pushed it just a little bit more. Again, not trying to mess anything up, and got it to retract in just enough. Well, I knew it was potentially a dangerous situation, but I took the top cover off, tried to keep it away from my face, and boom, went flying out of there. Right across the room. So, whew, went and gathered up the recoil assembly. It was fine. It landed on some soft boxes, whatever, right? So I look in there, and obviously I have a trigger just dangling around in there. The hammer at that point was still, you know, attached with its pin, but that pin was halfway walked out. And I have to watch how I hold this rifle, guys, because even right now, if I tilt it the wrong way too much, these pins will just fall out. Okay, so that's the deal. Here's where we are so far. Broken pin retainer. I only got half of it. I'm assuming at one time it had a complete piece in there. Probably, but I have no way of knowing. Only half of it ever came out of this gun. No signs of any other pieces in the case. With a clipped hardware store washer. Alright. So then I'm like, okay. Now I know with the Galil, the fact that it has a different selector. Since it has the normal AK selector here, but on the other side, sorry to be so cumbersome, guys, I really have to hold these pins or they will literally fall out on me right in front of us. Since it also has the selector over here, the ambi selector, if you will, there's an extra piece in here, right? So a regular AK shepherd's hook isn't going to work exactly right, and you can't use a retaining plate. Well, the fix a lot of people use for Galils is just to use some E-clips. So I'm like, all right, I guess I can E-clip this and it's going to be okay. Because I was so excited to get this gun, I was still trying to be optimistic. Then, in my stream last night, again, this is just a shortened version of whatever I showed on the stream already, I went to charge the gun. Now, I have to hold it in this weird way right now, because if I don't keep pressure on these pins, they'll instantly fall out and then I'll be back to my debacle. So, if you want to know why I'm holding it weird, that's why. I'm just putting my thumb and the pad of my thumb there right on these two pins to hold them in place. So, here's what happened next. Alright, now I can charge the weapon unobstructed, right? So I thought. So I charge it, and you hear a bad hitch in there. Now sometimes it will go forward like it just did. Other times, right there, it catches. Completely caught. Where I have to give it a nudge and slap it forward. It's kind of random. Sometimes it catches. Sometimes it doesn't. Now, I know when the gun's firing, I get it, guys. It's going to cycle so rapidly, it's going to go. But there's still a big hitch in there, a clank clank. Hopefully the microphone can pick it up. But I can feel the harmonics in my hand as it's catching, it's overriding, you know, metal to metal contact, then it's going forward. Okay? This isn't good, guys. Something's out of spec with the way the rails that are milled into this receiver, it's a milled receiver gun, are interacting with this carrier. And this is not within spec to where it should be, in my opinion, for a brand new expensive firearm. New meaning, yes, there's military surplus parts, but the actual gun, the receiver, is a brand new USA made part. Co-branded as a Beulah Defense, the markings are on the bottom, as well as James River Armory. Could I get in there with a file stuff down, blah, blah, blah? Sure. But you know what? I have a Galil parts kit, and if I wanted to build one, I would just build it. I wanted this rifle just to be simply ready to go. So, retaining pins falling out of the gun the first time I charged it. Took me forever just to get it apart because the trigger walked up out of its area, right? It's supposed to be. Charging handle, more times than not, just stops. This is due to bad fitment, bad workmanship, probably very little, if no, quality control. Just assuming here. I mean, any other AK I've bought in the past charges freely. The retaining pins stay. I've had AKs with the shepherd's hooks in them for thousands and thousands of rounds. I've seen these shepherd hooks that are taken out of former military service guns that I buy as parts kits. Still have the original shepherd's hook. They might have 20,000 rounds in them, maybe more. So, this isn't a debate over whether you want a retainer plate or a shepherd's hook. What it comes down to is the manufacturer of this rifle, James River Armory, chose to use this part. And they should use a part they have faith in. Sometimes the part's bad, sometimes it's not. But one thing, this happened to me, remember, like I said, I'm trying to walk you guys through this as quickly as possible while giving you some detail. The very first time I charged this gun out of the box, the pin fell to the floor. So this had already broken since half of it's gone. It was already broken when it came to me new in the box. Now look, the FFL holder I bought it from, the gun shop, he's a good friend of mine. I trust him with my life, but he didn't even have the box open. When I walked in there to get it, he said, man, perfect timing, it just showed up. I cut the box open with a razor knife, took out the hard case. He was standing there watching me do it. His brother was. Hey guys, nobody was messing with this gun, so it's literally impossible that somebody at the gun shop was toying around with it or something. No. I took it out of the box in front of 2 people, and it went down exactly like I said. Now, let's go over a couple other things. When you have a parts kit build, there's 2 ways to do it. You can either refinish all the parts to make them match the newly refinished receiver and barrel. That's fine. Or you can have a Battlefield pickup. I own both. I love the Battlefield pickups. And I like the guns that look nice and shiny. I like all AKs, okay? Well, it's usually one or the other, but not both. So here's another thing. And look, I'm going to nitpick on this, but I would have been fine with it if everything else wouldn't have been such a disaster. With the out-of-spec receiver, the fact that I still can't freely charge this weapon, and then the debacle with the pins falling out the very first time. Look, but I'm going to mention it since, hey, you guys are spending your hard-earned money on these. Hopefully yours are better than mine. Trust me. I really hope. But, you know, they refinished the gas block here. Okay, in the front sight. They refinished the stock. That's fine. It matches the receiver. This is good. But then the bipod, which was part of the package I ordered, they just chose not to refinish it at all. Missing paint, nicks, scratches, whatever. Don't take me the wrong way, guys. I love a Battlefield pickup. If the whole gun was parts as issued, Battlefield pickup, that would have been perfect. I would have grabbed, assuming the gun wasn't a complete debacle and I was going to keep it, I would have scuffed it up with a little steel wool sandpaper. I would have made the receiver and barrel look battle worn. It would have been awesome. But look at here, the birdcage flash hider. Let me get this bipod put away so I don't knock my camera over, guys. The birdcage flash hider, completely refinished. So here's my tip to JRA. You don't refinish 90% of the parts and then throw a part on there that's completely unfinished. Either go with Battlefield pickup or refinish them all. You guys know what I'm saying, right? One more thing, and I don't want to leave this out. Look at this pin's already walking free. I told you guys, it's so loose. These pins are so loose in here, the tolerances, that without the retaining pin, I don't know if my camera's going to pick it up. That pin's already falling out just from gravity. So I'm going to push it back in. Hear that move in place? Okay. Now here, that's why I'm manipulating this gun so weird, guys. Now here's why I was so excited about this gun, guys. They put correct markings on here. We have the Sword of David on here. We have the Hebrew letterings for the, you know, the fake full auto selector markings, because this gun's semi-auto, as we all know. We also have the selector markings over here. Oop, almost lost a pin there, guys. Hold on. All right. We have the Hebrew lettering for the selector markings on this side. This is what really attracted me to this piece. It has lightning cuts in it, which is great. That makes it look really historically correct, right? Here's the problem. I'm hoping my camera can pick this up. The metal finishing on this thing is not good. See, my light's going to mess with me a little bit here. Let me get some of the fingerprints off. We can see a bunch of swirling right there. See all the swirling on the metal? There's a good shot of it. Take a look at that. This is where the end mills, the mills that were in their CNC milling machine, that's normal. That does that. I understand a little bit about metalworking, but you're supposed to, in my opinion, when you sell a gun for $1,000, do a little bit of metal finishing on top, whether you're using a whiz wheel, sandpaper. There's many ways to do it, but this gun clearly lacks any final metal finishing. Now let's look over here. These fingerprints mess with the light, guys. Let me try to... We can see this side's even worse. Consistently over the whole side of this, we can see grooves. And the camera's not really doing it justice, but you guys can see them on there. See all the swirls and grooves everywhere? Now these are actually deep enough where I can feel them with my fingernail. Almost as deep as like what you'd have for the little grooves in a 78 record. Not the big groups where you switch tracks, but the small ones. It's about that deep, and this is covering the whole side of the receiver. Now let's look at this lightning cut here. The lightning cut is incompletely milled. You can see the sharp grooves on the bottom. From machining, I get it, mills do this, but this is why you spend a few minutes with this part after it comes out of the CNC. And It's called metal finishing, James River, to be quite frank. It's part of what craftsmen do, people that make things out of metal. Now, maybe some industrial parts don't need metal finish. They get powder coated, whatever. I get it. But a rifle like this, that somebody's spending good money on, where you guys went through the detail, okay? They went through the detail to put all the correct markings. Enthusiasts, people that love these guns, that love the military history, like me and like a lot of you, we pay extra for these guns because of all the markings. We want them to look good, okay? This just doesn't look good. There's no degree of fit and finish. You can see from that angle behind Gallant, there wasn't any final metal finishing done, guys. Alright. In conclusion, the gun was literally falling apart and broken and non-functional in the box. The first time I charged it, 3 pieces fell on the ground. Using unconventional methods such as clipped washers. Probably, I believe this is part of a shepherd's hook. This is all I got from it. The rest of it probably fell out before the gun arrived to me. I took it out of the box myself, guys. The degree of fit and finish is not good. Could have I overlooked some of these things? Yeah. Could have I put the E-clips in? Yes. Could I ignore the fact that I paid good money for this because I wanted the markings to be good and everything, and still look at all the swirls and improperly milled out lightning cuts? I guess so. Could have I ignored the fact that this has not been refinished, but all the rest of the parts have? Sure. But at the end of the day, here's the deal breaker for me, guys. There's some hard binding and improper tolerances on the inside of this gun, and this I am worried about, because I'm either going to have failures to feed, or I could have all kinds of problems, or I might keep wearing away enough where I'm going to deform the receiver and cause other problems. I'm not going to shoot this gun, guys. It may be safe, but I have no confidence that this gun is safe to shoot. So I'm going to be contacting Classic Firearms here on Monday. I'm going to be, hopefully I don't have to contact James River, because this gun was dead on arrival. I don't believe I should have to contact the manufacturer, because when consumers buy consumer goods such as this, if it's dead on arrival, state laws vary and stuff. I'm not trying to get legal on you guys, but I have the right just to have Classic take care of this. I shouldn't have to go through the manufacturer, because it arrived dead on arrival. And I've documented it, and people saw me open the box. Now look, I anticipate Classic's going to take care of me. I anticipate if they need to get involved, James River will take care of me. You guys may have these on the way. I'm not trying to worry you at all. I really wish you guys the best of luck, and I hope to God nobody's rifle is even close to mine. I have nothing to gain. You know, they say misery loves company. It's a joke. Not really. I want you guys to all be happy with these guns. I want more people getting into the AK, the Galil, and just firearms, period. So I wish you guys the best of luck that are getting these. If you're on the fence and you're thinking about buying one, I'm not going to tell you not to buy one. But like I said earlier, I show you guys my gun reviews, raw, natural, just hanging out with my buddies, just like today. And I'm going to show you when I find this little bargain gun that's working great for $179. I'm going to tell you guys, and go back to my previous videos, great first impression of this $330 Thesis gun. This video would have been put up if this gun was completely perfect, and I would have told you guys how much I love it. And I wish so bad I could have done that, because I wanted to like this gun so much. And it's so frustrating that I'm going to have to send it back. I hope they can get me another one. I see they're sold out. I don't know. I'm still hopeful I can get another one that's completely, you know, not perfect. Nothing in life's perfect. I could have ignored the bipod being the different refinishing, whatever. But just something that's functional, that doesn't fall apart on me, on the floor at my feet, as I take it out of the box. Something that doesn't have a hard hit and binding of steel-to-steel parts. You guys know what I'm saying. I'm a realist. I've bought tons of guns. I know this has used surplus parts and new parts. That's the beauty of it. That's why I want it. It doesn't have to look 100% perfect, but the finishing and the machining needs to be better than this. This lightning cut needs to be milled out better than this. They just need to do better. You know what I'm saying, guys? So you guys saw what I got. If it makes you nervous to buy one, that's fine with me. If you're hoping for the best, that's fine with me. If you guys got one of these and it's perfect in every way, share it down in the comments. That is awesome. I'd love to hear that. I really, really would. So, I'm not going to tell you guys what to do. This doesn't serve as advice. This is just a video like I do on any gun that I decide to review for the channel. I'm just showing you guys what it is. So, I'm obviously disappointed. I think you guys would be disappointed if you were me. Please, somebody share me a story that yours is completely awesome. That's what I need to do to cheer me up, because I would love to hear that. Alright, guys. Here is my much anticipated, much looked forward to, much hard-earned money spent JRA Gallant Galil. It's a disaster. It's a basket case, and it's junk. So, wish me luck, guys. I'm going to be on the phone early next week, trying my best to see what we can do. I have faith they'll make it right. Let's hope so. Alright, guys. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.